Eat, sleep, box, and repeat. Welcome back to our weekly betting tip show. Unfortunately, I can't be joined by either of the Elliots or Greg this week, so it's just me. However, I have been given some tips by Greg, so I'll let you know them after I let you know my own as well. So obviously, this weekend it's a bumper week of boxing action. You've got a stateside boxing in the form of Errol Spence against Yordenis Ugas. It's in Texas in the early hours of Sunday morning. It's unification clash. All belts on the line, bar Terence Crawford's WBO welterweight world title. And over here in the UK, you've got Conor Benn fighting Chris Van Heerden in the main event in the Manchester Arena on Saturday night, with some stellar undercard fights such as Tommy McCarthy against Chris Smith, the rematch for the European title, as well as a few others on the undercard too. As well as that, you've got Friday night action from the York Hall. Gavin Gwynne's fighting Luke Willis. You've also got on that card Sam Gillies fighting Drew Brown and a few other decent fights on the card. So yes, another good weekend of boxing action this weekend, and we'll get straight into the bets. So me personally, I'll go through my singles first, and then I'll give you the treble, and then I'll do Greg's afterwards. So first, I'm going to go with Conor Benn, and that the one I'm going to say is Conor Benn. I think he'll stop Chris Van Heerden. Chris Van Heerden's only been stopped once, and it was way back in 2015 or 2014 or something like that. To Errol Spence, who's obviously arguably the number one welterweight in the world. So I don't know if you can read as much into that, because it was 6 or 7 years ago. But I think that Errol Spence at that time is probably somewhere similar, if not a little bit behind where Conor Benn is now in his career and forms. Conor Benn's just probably sitting just below world level, looking to beat all those former world title challengers, the likes of Algieri last night, your Vargases, your Fundoras of the world, the Formellas of the world. And I think that Conor Benn will, similar to the Algieri fight, get to Chris Van Heerden in the first half of the fight, which is evens with most bookmakers. So you can get Conor Benn by knockout in the first 6 rounds of the fight at evens with most bookmakers, which leads me on to my second single of the weekend, and that comes in the rematch between Chris Smith and Tommy McCarthy. Now, I think Elliot and all like to take the mick a wee bit and say that I'm very biased, but I do genuinely think Tommy McCarthy won the first fight, although he didn't get given the decision. So I think that he will definitely win the second fight, and the only way I can see him winning it is on points. I don't see him having the power to knock out Chris Smith, who seems to have quite a good chin himself, but you can get Tommy McCarthy at 7-2 to win on points, so I think that's a fantastic price. On Friday night, in the main event, you've got Gavin Gwynne versus Luke Willis, as I said, from the York Hall. And, it's an interesting fight. You've probably got to say that Gwynne is the favourite. However, Willis was an underdog last fight when he fought Ryland Charlton in Liverpool, and he came out on top there. And just something's telling me that he could do exactly the same thing again. So I'm going to go with Luke Willis by decision at 7-4. And then the final single comes in from the fight in America, the big unification welterweight clash for the IBF, WBC, and WBA Super welterweight titles. And I think Errol Spence will beat Yordenis Ugas. Spence has 21 knockouts in his 27 wins, but if you look at his record, his last 3 wins have all been by decision against, I think it was Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, and I can't remember who the other one is, but his last 3 have all been by unanimous decision, and I think the same could happen again. I haven't yet seen odds on full unanimous decision, only just seen it by decision, which is 4-6 for Errol Spence, which is still a good price. I think, if you want to put that in a double or a treble, it's definitely worth your while. So that leads me on to finish with my treble, and for my treble, I've gone with 3 of my singles put together. I'm going to go with Spence points, McCarthy points, and Conor Benn knockout in the first half of the fight. And if you put that in a treble, you can get odds of around 14-1. So a tenner will return you £150, which I think is fantastic for those odds. On the Gregs now, and he's given me 3 predictions as well, and 2 of them are the same as what I've said. And the 2 that are the same are the Spence points and Ben knockout in the first half of the fight. So Greg and I are in agreement with that, and I suppose that's a good thing because he's the prediction king. So that makes me feel a little bit better about my predictions. The only one that we have differed on is the McCarthy and Bill and Smith fight. He's gone for a Bill and Smith points victory at 11-8, which again is, it happened the first time around. It can more than likely happen again this time around. I understand his thoughts on that. He did it the first time. Yes, it was close, but it was kind of a fight of two halves. It was kind of nip and tuck. There was times where Bill and Smith definitely won rounds, and there was times where McCarthy won rounds, both quite clearly. It was just those middle rounds, those tight rounds. It's kind of, the old saying, "What do you like?" And obviously, the judges saw it in favour of Bill and Smith the last time. So I can understand Greg's prediction there, and if you put his three predictions into a treble, the Spence points and the Bill Smith points and the Ben knockout in the first half of the fight, that equates to about 6.5 or 7-1. So £10 will return 75, £80. So yeah, some good bets there and some good selections, I think. So if you're putting any of them on, best of luck. Hopefully they come in for you. And that's all for another week of our boxing betting tip show from ESBR Boxing. All the best.